Give him
demons.
Poor demons.
Don't give him sympathy.
Bring him
Don't-
alive.
no.
Bring him back. Everyone loves a demon army.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 19 of The Old World Behemoths. With us tonight are some extraordinarily special guests, the wonderful Shady Casters. Welcome, boys. Welcome, Harry. Welcome, Aaron. We'll get to you guys in just a second. Tonight, we're going to be spending a lot of time on our Shady Casters, who we're liking to call sort of us, but in Queensland, which is a lovely thing to see that, you know, there are people like us at other places in Australia. But before we do any of that, I will jump in and thank, first of all, 25 Creative, who we have not been as diligent as we should have been thanking over the last few episodes. 25 Creative is our graphic design support. Check them out if you're looking for podcasting support, channel support, that sort of thing. And I also need to thank our patrons. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, you will find the link to our Patreon in the show notes or description, wherever you might be watching or listening this. But thank you, Death1942, Ghost, Pan and Wargaming, Joshua 6, Silver Dave, Gomo, Bonehead, Earl of Kent, Ulla Zed, the Western Sydney Wargamer Boys, the Orange Juicer, Big Daddy H, Toytown 69, Prophet of Sotek, and James Alexander. Thank you so much for your continued support. You help us, you allow us to keep being able to produce content on a regular basis, and it's very, very helpful to have your support. Right, that's out of the way. So, boys, I'm going to ask you collectively, and I know you were talking about maybe what your response could be, but why are you a behemoth?
This is why we're here. This is the why we're on the channel.
For this question,
We're going to cut it after
this
this.
will be a real short episode. Yeah.
Go on. You go first. Big dog.
Right. I'm a behemoth because I've killed a star dragon with a goblin on a flying carpet.
Settle down.
I think that's the best
down.
one we've had yet.
It's at least a wizard goblin, right?
And I can't claim that one, unfortunately. He did have a dragon slaying sword, so I can't take all the credit.
even still, like it's not a big chance that you're going to get that off. Well done.
Nah.
That's
Not when you got a
Behemoth
bloody
would.
5-up ward save as well. Ooh.
Definitely.
We've got
I was
a-
imagining the night goblin with a stick, like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a cork.
He's got this little lance with a cork on
with
the
a
end.
cork on the end.
The old Captain Hook.
Amazing. And Harry, why are you a behemoth?
Well, when I found out that Aaron was throwing me under the bus, because that was my star dragon that he killed, obviously. Mine's not. Mine's. I think of a couple, but mine's non Warhammer related today, because my Shady Caster in team member is extra shady, and he's actually a Welshman at heart. He bleeds blue. So I'm a behemoth because I'm the only one here representing the God's country, the Queenslanders.
And yet
Someone
you're the
has
one
to.
that you're the one that travels most frequently away from it.
Away
as well.
from
So I get my fix of some real world, of the real world.
Amazing.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
But yeah, he's everyone knows he's a massive Parramatta fan for starters, so that's a bit.
my territory.
It's got to be one in town, I suppose.
You'll
There's always
have
one.
a few fans among the audience there.
Yeah.
So get in the comments and have that discussion.
One guy did comment on our one of our battle reps and said, I don't care who I'm going for, but old mate's wearing a Parramatta jersey, so I'm backing him.
Love it. I do love a good international audience that knows nothing but is willing to put a stake up. With me tonight, I am of course Alasdair. I am a behemoth because I've survived another weekend of school holidays and having two kids at home. Oh boy, I love my children absolutely to death. I love my children, but I cannot wait for tomorrow when neither of them are in the So that's why I'm here today. That's right. Alex is joining us as well. Alex, why are you a behemoth?
I'm a behemoth because the fat man returned last week and he only died once.
It was only once, yeah.
Only once. No, it was twice. I just realized that in the final turn of my last game, on one wound, he died to a single. My opponent, boys, got Matty, we'll call him out, got the summoning off last turn. Fat Man was on one wound. He did like 10 hits, only wounded with one. And it was the last dice roll of the game, and I failed it.
Look at these two gentlemen giving you sympathy, Alex.
In other news,
from me.
the win record is mildly solid still with the Demons at tournaments. We've gone 9 games, only 1 loss with the fatty.
I think to very quickly talk about that before we jump into you guys. For anyone wanting an update, we will talk about it in the next episode that we get together, the tournament that Alex and I did go to. But I think it was win-loss draw for both. And so for every son of a bitch in the comments that was complaining about how bad Nong was and how awful my Outriders list was, you could take that result and you can enjoy it. All right? Because
don't even try that. Don't even try that.
Online haters, man.
It's not.
We cop so much hate about the null.
Did you have 30 Outriders? Like 30, doing 120
30
shots.
delicious Outriders, 4 cannons, all the whiz bangs, but not as scary as it looks. So if you get the chance to play it, please play it and stop complaining. But tonight is about you boys. We were so thrilled to be able to get you guys on the channel. We know that you've only been doing some videos under Shady Casters for a couple of months now, and you've already released nearly as many videos as us, so well done you. But you've had some absolute corkers as well. I mean, tell us a little bit about Shady Casters. So what made you start up the channel?
Kick us off.
Yeah, kick us off.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks to the big fella.
I think we just want to kind of represent our little community. So we've come up with the channel, I guess. There's not many of us up here in Toowoomba. There's about 10 of us. So we just want to put ourselves out there, say, hey, there's a lot of us out here playing games in the country. So, yeah.
And we sort of wanted to, we weren't so much involved in like tournament sort of organisation. That's more sort of Starkey up north. You guys would have heard of him. And Dan in our local scene, which is Tat. So yeah, it was, Aaron got a few little goodies for his birthday last year. He got a mic and a GoPro and sort of said, oh, hey, do you want to get in and just do a list review for a tournament?
That I was going to, yeah.
And then when we did do that, it sort of created a lot of hype just amongst all the guys going and everyone got really excited for it. And when that sort of happened, we were like, that was pretty cool. A cool thing to do for the community. Yeah. And then we sort of continued it from there. We just sort of thought, let's just get us out there and for all the people that might be watching. We know, like you guys, you got kids. Sometimes it's hard to get down every weekend for a game so we sort of figured like if we made it feel like our community was operating every week or 2 weeks, then we thought that was a good way to help out.
That's literally how, I'm sure you guys know how the 2+. Yeah, you've seen the 2+ podcast, but that's how that started down here too. And I don't think I'm stealing Alex Brown or Paddy Brown's thunder by saying this, but we talk about that a lot, which is about talking with the community and for the community, especially, which means that if I roll back the clocks to July 2024, Alistair, I think was the first event that we went to. Alex Brown from 2+, I think they had like 150 subscribers or something like that. And they started just doing list reviews. Alistair was their first guest on the show, which was reviewing his Dark Elf, broken, whack, win at all costs, Dark Elf list.
Massively naive, thinking I had the old world figured out after playing a few games online.
Magic
and going into
Be
Go in this.
crushing.
I go. Honestly, I mean, look, you want something fun? Go back and actually watch the video because I was so
We will now.
self-assured.
Yeah, you have to.
I was so
Definitely.
self-assured. Thought I had it all figured out, and within, I think, I had one game against another guy who wasn't terribly experienced, and he's become one of our really good friends at the Western Sydney Wargamers events sort of since. And then the second game, I ended up playing Paddy Gallagher, and I had no idea what Wood Elves did. And Paddy tabled me by the beginning of my
like 3
turn.
turns.
No, my turn too. It was totally tabled, and I was just like, "How did this happen?" I thought I knew everything, but anyway, it's very interesting to go back and watch that video, knowing
Yes, please do.
I knew
Please
nothing.
do.
Absolutely. Now we
Yeah.
know.
You have to go
Definitely.
back and watch it. Unfortunately, our smug faces were then on a couple of more podcasts of theirs doing big list reviews. But I have to agree about the local hype that it creates. It very much makes you feel that, like as a player as well, when you're hearing your list being reviewed, your hype like triples, quadruples, especially if they come out and say, that's an interesting thing. I've never seen that before. There's Australia's only Demons player coming with the Great Unclean One,
No. How many times can how many times can Alex say Big Papa in this?
Yeah, we'll get to that. But you guys have obviously like done more since then, and I've got it on the screen, right? Like you've actually. We jokingly said, like I said to the boys, they're like us, but in Queensland, because our main audience is like New South Wales focused, right? We talk about the events in Sydney and New South Wales. We talk about the news around the chat. The games that we play are based around the FAQs and missions that our local tournament scene specifically use. And we'll have a chat about like kind of the differences between Queensland and New South Wales later. But, you guys are actually way ahead of us in many ways because, yes, we've done hobby videos. Yes, we've done event reviews. We've done a couple of bat reps online. You've beaten us to the punch on there. But we cannot claim that we've done an international match.
I don't think there's many Australian channels that can. So tell us a little bit about how that happened.
So I was fairly active, I guess, obviously I travel for work, and I was very active in the High Elf Discord chat. And I actually got talking to Eric, I'm trying to think of his last name, but he was ranked number 1 for a while in the US. And he was very active talking on the Discord chat as well. And then one time I just messaged him and said, hey, I'm in LA all the time. Could we have a game sometime? And he was like, yeah, man, whatever. Just let me know when you're over here and I'll drive over. And that was one thing that I found really cool about LA is that their community is very like, you could literally message anyone over there, just find them and they'll be keen just to come out and roll dice. And then I actually I went and had a game with Eric. He ran Chaos and I had the High Elves for that. And he was very tactically minded. I'm just, I'm like a bit of a rookie. I'm like a Mark Howard of talk about the game, but actually don't really know how to play the game.
I feel you. I do.
And then Evan was there, one of the old world legends. He was just there that night, and he was having a game with his beastman, and I sort of got talking to him then. And at the time, I didn't really know who he was. I suppose in their community, I didn't realize he was like, sort of the heart of their community. And then I was messaging him on Discord. We would just talk about, mainly whinging about elves and stuff.
I feel like it's a good 20% of all the Warhammer chat on Discord is complaints about elves. 100%.
Yeah. Between Evan and I, it's like just always whinging about elves. So, and then I just said to him, "Oh, would you be keen for a game when I come over?" And because those guys are like really busy. They run really big events, lots of narrative events, big tournaments, and they like teach other people to play and stuff. So I was sort of thinking, oh, he won't really have time. And he was, yeah, man, I'll meet you there in Pasadena in Southern California. And I had a game with him. And then when he sort of saw our channel, he didn't really know that we had just a small time, Queensland channel. And and then he's like, oh man, your battle reps are cool. And he said, did you take any photos and videos of ours? I said, yeah, I took heaps. And he said, because I thought, the boys in Toowoomba won't believe me that I had a game in LA. You're like, what are you talking about? Show us where that is on a map. Where is this place?
Where is this? El Paso.
Point it out. So, yeah, and then he was just like, yeah, look, come on the channel sometime. He wanted to like Mike wanted to be there as well because Mike, the main host, he really loves it, and he does all the main work for the community there. And but unfortunately, we couldn't line it up because obviously, that was middle of the night for Evan when it was middle of the day for us, sort of thing. So yeah, that's how that happened, and it was good fun. He spoke really fast for me, and I was just really slow, and but they love it. They love it. So, and it was just a good experience to see a totally different community environment. Like it was, yeah. And I guess the main thing that I learned from that, Evan is very much like he's very tactically minded. He's a very smart player, but he always preaches engagement in a game, and he will take like unfavorable charges and stuff just to roll dice.
Yeah.
You'll see, like if you watch that battle rep, there was a point there where he charged a lion chariot with his caster, just because he's like, look, I could win this combat if a spell goes off. But he just wanted to roll dice, He did not care, And he chased my Star Dragon around for 6 turns with the Dragon Slayer's sword, and then ended up getting bonked on the head. So, and I thought that was really cool to play someone who's a top tier player and really tactically minded, but he still just played the game to roll dice and have a laugh. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's one of those. Interesting things about how this revival feels. It's been 2 years effectively, right, since the old world has come back to life, and it now feels. A lot of the personalities, a lot of the people driving community are those who really desire community to grow, and it usually means that they're pretty good people, right? So it's nice. We've had a range of people over the last 12 months of us doing the podcast, or a little bit longer. But every time we do, call it, maybe it's naivety or otherwise, but I always expect them to be a little less nice than they end up being. So yeah. I'm glad to hear that it was like a really great experience to be able to go and get to have that through play as well. And just on something you said as well, and we spoke about it before we sort of started recording, but getting to play with someone who's playing a very different type of the old world, was that quite difficult to adjust to while you're sort of trying to play the game?
Yeah, it was a bit. It was difficult to sort of think about, how like when we would talk about certain aspects of the game, be it movement or, well, movement's probably the big one, right? Where I feel like in definitely in our sort of local scene anyway, it can be a little bit, because it's such an important part of the game, we sometimes are a bit nitpicky about it, I guess. Like we're very accurate and, with very, I guess, but that does take up time as well. Whereas like in LA, for instance, Evan would just be like, oh man, what do you want to do with it? Just pick it up and move it. So I was being a bit more cautious in terms of the competitive access, the competitive side of it. I didn't want to be like, seem like I was ever trying
that
to cheat
guy.
or you
because still want to be friends.
Because in Australia, or definitely in our scene, it feels like you're always trying to balance between, like, you want to win, right? Because you're playing a game to win, but you also don't want to seem like
you
exactly
want to be
that
friends.
guy.
Yeah.
Whereas in LA, it was kind of like, oh, as long as you're engaging and you're giving, you sort of tit for tat. They're just like,
Mm.
yeah, man, whatever, just go for it. Like that. So I
20-inch
felt like,
march on a 4-inch infantry.
yeah, like
line,
they didn't care. They just didn't. But I guess it was good like that.
Good vibes.
So, yeah, good vibes. And as I said, he's a top tier player. So for someone like I was sort of a bit nervous going into the game because I was like, oh man, he's just going to table me and walk away and go. This guy from Queensland.
Thanks for coming.
What do they do over there? But he definitely, yeah. So it's a different world competitively. And as you guys are probably all aware, they're I think definitely like West Coast is heavily scarred from the years of 40K, competitive 40K that people
That's
bring
a global thing, but yes.
Yeah. So the old world is more definitely over there is like hey, come and play with some friends. And, yeah, if you win. Cool.
I always joke about us being the geriatric like league of gamers in the sense that most of us have kids now.
Yeah.
That comes with the added requirements of air-conditioned venues, and long gone are the days where we want to sit in a tin shed with no air conditioning in 40-degree Australian summer,
Wet it out.
and sweat it out.
Only mid-strength beers,
Yeah, middies all day.
Yeah. No heavies. No
Comes
4X
with a-
bitter.
Nah.
comes with a bit of perspective though as well.
That's right.
And I suppose to your point, what is it about playing the game now that matters? Is it literally arguing over that thing that maybe didn't look exactly right just because you feel sort of hard done by, or is it trying to enjoy the game and trying to enjoy events? And we've spoken a lot about that aspect of the game and sort of what's important from a player perspective as well. But it is nice to see, community voices like yourselves, like us, like 2Plus. There's a heavy emphasis now on, we are spending this time because it's genuinely something that we love and genuinely something that we enjoy. So what's the point in getting wound up about it, or what's the point in approaching it to win and be that guy if it means the sacrifice of sort of everything else around it? But I'm not going to turn yet another episode into talking about sportsmanship. So Alex, please save me.
There was
Just
one
say
thing.
Big Papa. Just say Big
That'll be the safe word. The safe word.
The safe word.
Yeah. Big Papa. Big Papa.
It's just a picture of the Great Unclean One on the next slide. There was one thing I didn't put on here, which is that Aaron, I think you're actually like 10th in the country right now.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, on
what
the
are you doing down
rankings.
there? Bloody
Oh,
hell.
shit, mate. I'm playing demons. That's the
Aaron is a
problem.
power gamer.
Yeah, the power and the rats, all the rats coming out.
That's right. But you've been to quite a few events this season. So is that what drives the game for you, is actually playing?
Yeah, definitely. Because I'd probably put myself hobbyist first, and I just want to show off my toys. So every tournament there is, I try and go to just to get the dust off. And yeah, it's just a part of my social thing, is just getting out there, talking to people.
Aaron's trying to complete his Pokedex too.
I'm getting there. I've got a wall full of
Skaven.
Warhammer. Yeah.
Skate loves the rats. That's
loves
his
the rats.
number one.
Yeah. Any tournament I get, I try and get the permission slip signed straight away so I can go. So, yeah.
Aaron does something very sneaky at tournaments too. He'll go like 3 or 4 tournaments in a row. He'll take like really fluffy armies, really fluffy lists, and he'll just sort of get, mid pack.
Yeah.
And then randomly out of nowhere, he'll just like bring the vampires out.
And the 5-0.
Just
5-0 the event.
And he still gets full sportsmanship because everyone's like, no, he's a good guy.
He's
like,
lovely. Yeah.
He's a
I love it.
Goes
There's
20-0
strategic
the whole
elements.
week.
Sneaky.
I tried to do that when I tanked my win rate to 20%, and then it stayed there.
I think the difference, Alex, is that you weren't trying to take your rate. There's a slight difference. But yeah, so you guys have been obviously to quite a few events, and there are a few coming up. And we wanted to talk a little bit about how Warhammer looks in God's country, or quote unquote the true old world, which was a pun that I'm less and less proud of as time goes on. But yeah, it's not, and there's going to be a lot of upset people. But you've got a couple of events coming up, and there is a new comp system that's being tried at least one of the big events coming up. Would you mind just telling us a little bit about sort of how that's come up and what it's looking to, I suppose, solve for?
I've actually got it. If we wanted to come back to this slide, which is this.
Tatcom, yeah.
Tatcom.
So that's the Toowoomba, the Tabletop Association of Toowoomba. So that's our local gaming club in town. So a lot of 40K, and there's about 15 old world guys, I want to say, in it. So
enough for a good tournament.
Yeah, enough for a good round robin.
Well, Aaron and his brother Dan actually is sort of the spearhead for Old World with Tat.
Yep.
So it's actually a group of guys. Aaron was involved. So Aaron and Dan were sort of the main two.
And
there was a few others,
Dylan and Chris.
Yeah. Dylan's been on our channel for a battle. And they got together and they spoke about this sort of Tat comp, I suppose. And Aaron and I had spoken a fair bit about, I guess, the main reason we liked the square base tier system, particularly with Queenslanders, because we're a big bunch of sooks.
Yep.
We don't like being told we can't take certain toys. So I guess the tier comp lets you take whatever you want. You just either get more points or you've got to go suffer the 2,000 point without it stopping you from taking, Big Papa, for instance.
Or multiples.
Or multiple Big Papas. No, that'd be elite, Alex.
The depressing thing is about this is that we were in the Behemoths chat this afternoon. We were talking about this, and we were talking about, where does this put us if we were thinking about, what we've taken to recent events and what we've brought along. So I think Alex popped up with 3 Greater Demons.
Well, I realized that would actually be illegal.
Oh, okay.
So I'm only limited to 4 Behemoths.
Okay. So 2 Greater Demons and 2 Soul Grinders.
Yeah,
because
immediately.
Why not?
Immediately.
Right?
It's a bit fluffy, really.
And then he can take
of course, 1 Greater Demon for each Soul Grinder.
And then he can take everything else that he still wants, because that's just the rest of the points.
30 Flamers.
Well, it's Queenslanders to a T. We just like to take what we want to take.
And there's a lot of us old guard too, where we have all the legacy armies, but we rock up to tournaments and we just, it's hard. It's always a uphill battle.
Well, you guys do have on there renegade lists allowed and encouraged. Is down here, and when we saw the renegades, I want to say Western Sydney Wargamers may have even been one of the first events globally to adopt it. It was immediate. Yep, bring it in, baby. So in Queensland, I know you don't speak for the whole state, but you guys represent full con, the Toowoomba scene, Starkeys, quite a majority of it.
Yeah.
Renegades are fully encouraged.
Yeah, we love it. Anything to support the legacy, we're all for.
Yeah. Because we've all got armies from 8th, 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th ed. So we're a bit old school. And you'll see that the tier list, though, is slightly reduced from...
It's not as hardcore as the square-based one, which is...
I did see Nolan has come down 100 points, so I couldn't take 2 steam tanks, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not by design at all.
No, you never know.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
But
We've
Aaron...
a couple of games with it so far, Aaron and I.
Yep.
And there was one on the channel with Joss.
Bat rep, yeah.
Yeah, battle rep, where we had a crack at that first. The rats still suck.
Should be another tier here.
2,600.
I was gonna say, how many extra bodies does 400 points buy you, Aaron?
You physically don't have the model count. That's the problem. Like that.
So, but obviously, you guys have mentioned as well the FAQ.
Yeah. Is rumored to come out soon.
Yeah, so that could change things up a fair bit.
Well,
Hopefully we just don't have to use this if that.
I was sleuthing this afternoon by just going to the FAQ page and refreshing every 20 minutes because I was hoping that we'd see something. But if we see something, it will probably be tomorrow morning. However,
guaranteed after we've done this, it will drop tomorrow morning. Guaranteed.
But we have a history of this, boys, and I'm sure if you've seen other of our episodes, we have a history of talking about whatever the release is, and then immediately next day the release comes. So I wouldn't be surprised. But my money's on next week. My money's on next Sunday, actually, not this Sunday. And that's only based on the release date of the previous FAQ, which was the second to last week, the end of the second to last week of June was when that came out. So I have a sneaking suspicion that they'll probably have a fixed release schedule that means that we'll see it in like the last weekend. But we'll see.
Now, I do need to catch myself on what I asked you boys about the Renegade lists. I was actually really asking about the Renegade pack that Val Heffelfinger put out. Do you guys use that as well? The pack that gives the Renegade armies the extra buffs? Like
yes,
yeah,
yep.
Okay,
yeah. So you'll still get your ward save all the time.
Ward save, yeah. I can come to Queensland. I can show my face.
More than welcome, mate.
We know that's all you cared about.
Yeah.
The next work trip, he'll have an extension to Toowoomba.
That's right. I'll be pulling a Harry, but only interstate. Like, but no special characters. So, do you know why that was what was thinking put into that?
Well, the idea was this is to boost mainly legacy armies, and they don't get access to special characters. So we thought just make it a level playing field, I guess.
Yeah.
But Starkey, his tournament is allowing special characters. So that's one of the changes he's done to his tournament.
There have been some really interesting incidents with special characters down here in probably the last 3 months, because there have been a few events that have tried different comp systems and that have tried sort of some more involved restrictions on characters and character building to try and, we have big opinions on what's wrong with certain things within the old world down here. And this particular comp system, I think for 2 events, sort of quite limited generic characters that you could do, but had no limitations on special characters. And so it meant that Cathay, with all their current inherent advantages, bringing Miao Ying along, totally dominated, because that talk about a special character that's totally incomparable to any generic character that's not able to fully kit itself out. So it is interesting to see, because of course most special characters aren't great, right? They're usually a little bit overcosted. They don't tend to do as much in larger points games. But I think Miao Ying is maybe the only one that has some sort of competitive presence. And when everything else is limited, my goodness, does she tear it up?
Has Cathay landed?
Yeah, Cathay. Or the Green Knight as well. We don't really like the Green Knight up in Queensland.
Queenslanders we're a bit burnt still too from 8th, all the special characters that we're getting around at 8th. It's a bit,
Was there on 8th, right? So we were playing 8th edition all the way through End Times, but I think we stopped doing events when the End Times competitive packs were released. And do you remember that's when characters finally switched from being 25% lords and then potentially 25% heroes to suddenly it was just 50% for characters, and so you could take multiple lords, which is where we find ourselves now. But also at that point they started releasing like united profiles for some of the special characters that were monsters, and it was the first time that we saw dragons with ward saves, and you had the what were they called, the big Nurgle boys on the giant on the back of their giant twin, or the back of their giant triplet. The Glotkin, yeah. There were all of those sorts of things. Did you get to many events or things that included those, or was that in that sort of rapid lead up to the end of the
I think it was
the
just
world?
too hard to keep up with all the
Yeah.
pumping
We
them out.
sort of
Yeah.
fell off the face of the earth a bit there when it also sort of ended
Yeah.
around sort of 2012, didn't we? Just sort of.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think that's I think that's not an uncommon thing. I've yet to find someone who was playing events that still included those sort of end times rules all the way up to the end. And I think I was maybe one of the few who was like avidly reading the books and trying to see what the rules were and trying to see things, only because I wanted to take Malekith in his shadow form. And I think I got
in the 3 weeks that you were playing.
I got maybe one game with him in it. And it had to be 2,400 points because he was like 600 points and that sort of thing. But it is good now, I think, for all our complaining around overtuned characters and character behemoths and all of those sorts of things and sharing ward saves. I still feel like we're in a better position than we were in 8th for monsters at the very least. Monsters just didn't have a presence back then, or at least very few of them did.
Very few, yeah. Like you would run a few. Like Aaron and I both had turns at running some fast lists.
Yeah.
I remember having like just a Phoenix base list because they were actually good back then. And Aaron's Dark Elf list we used to call the Zoo because it was just everything was
monster mash.
Hydras, manacles.
Yeah. So yeah, you could do it, but
as soon as you come up against war machines, it was like, oh, okay,
it's
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, really wild magic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I do miss the good old days of sacrificial daggering just an entire unit of spearmen to add those power dice in and get whatever spell you needed on.
Everything was irresistible.
So good.
All doubles.
But there is one here: extremely common faction magic items. That can only be taken once per army. I have to say, when I've read that, I missed the faction bit. That is excellent. So you can take as much as you want on the big blue.
The big bluey.
You can have 5 charm shields. Yep. Go nuts. Yep.
I think Aaron just got really sick of my opal amulets. So he's like,
and see,
you can take one.
I was like, oh my God.
How do the dwarf players feel about that? Is he applying that to dwarves as well? Do you know? Does anyone even play dwarves up in Queensland?
I do, but
how do you get your
the army brings out to 20 people? That's,
if you run a gun line,
that's the army. When you see him take dwarves, no.
Yeah. If you run a gun line, you risk getting jumped in the car park out the back on the way home up in Queensland.
Noted.
You have to share a 4-hour car ride with the guy you just tabled.
No one's okay. For some reason, no one gets around.
Yeah. Maybe it's tough terrain.
It's the horses. It's the horses.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Very nice. Well, I'm going to take us back a slide. Mostly because we spoke about Queensland versus New South Wales, not talking about rugby league. We are talking about the old world. What couple of quick facts, right? As of today, the 18th, it's last season you guys had over 110 active players in Queensland. You currently have the second place ranked player, third place, not even withstanding yourself, Aaron, in that. So Yassine's doing well. I mean, what's the current vibe up there? Because, and I'll say one more thing, because I feel like Starkey's events are a thing of legend, even down here in New South Wales.
Big time.
Yeah.
It's all time. On Starkey's events first, quickly, I don't know, we did do a list review on his last tournament, and he sent us through a heap of photos of his man cave. So that's worth checking out because it's quite spectacular.
Yeah, it's every man's dream.
It's like
it's a whole building, isn't it?
It's like a granny flat, but a massive granny flat that fits 16 tables, and he's got like arcade games and a full kitchen, and so.
But no, the vibe vibe, I think, is going all right in Queensland. It's more a lot of hobby, like the old guard with their nice armies. It's mainly hobby focused, I'd like to say. But
Yeah. We were talking about how the growth has probably been a bit slower
a bit
compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And that's why we were talking about the channel sort of targeting growth a bit more, because we feel like we sort of watch, the rest of the world, including Sydney, and your tournaments seem to be the numbers are getting bigger and bigger. And while in Queensland, we were talking about this the last 12 months have probably been a bit stagnant in terms of the numbers that come to tournaments.
It's the usual gang. Sort of rocks up.
And
Yeah,
at the end of eighth, when we were talking about eighth, in Southeast Queensland, it was big. Like it felt we were getting like every tournament, whether it was in Brisbane or the sunny coast or Toowoomba, because they were all within, driving distance, sort of 2 hours. King Roy events, which weren't Starkey's events at the time, he was there, but they weren't run by him. They were all growing like really big right towards the end. Like we were getting big numbers. And at the moment, I guess, we were talking about how it just felt a bit stagnant over the last 12 months. Like our numbers are sort of the same face. Like we get a few new faces, but the numbers are still sort of stagnating.
Yeah.
Sure. Do you have a theory as to why?
I think I was thinking about one when we were sort of looking at talking on this video, and you guys sort of sent us what we were going to talk about, and we don't schedule a lot of tournaments well in advance, if that makes sense. Yeah, like we're typically sort of, sometimes they do, like Starkey's got his dates pretty set for the tournaments he does every year. Like they're always ones around his birthday, and but I think that might be why. And I think we just, again, a job for Aaron and I as we sort of get more into the YouTube is just to sort of bring a bit more exposure to the tournaments that are around, so that people are like, oh, I didn't realize, there was a tournament coming up in Ipswich, and hopefully we can, as a community, we can just continue to grow that. I think.
I feel like your community is also a bit more spread out than ours, which is like very heavy concentration in Sydney, very heavy concentration in Western Sydney. And you're right, we've gone from 16 to 44 we had at the last one. Honestly, they're probably going to get to 50 here in Sydney.
We claiming credit for the good old Western Sydney Wargamers guys. Even
Use
I mean, look, put it in perspective. I think our experience over the last little while has been, as Alex pointed out, a lot of the players that used to play are now in exactly the same position as us, right? Where we have kids, and it's a luxury. It's a total luxury to be able to go and get engaged, or, people have careers, or people are doing things, this sounds so depressing, doing things with their lives, and don't necessarily have the time for the hobby in the same way that we did, a decade ago. That said, I mean, talking about things that even we're trying to do to just look for that growth or look for that sort of change. A decade ago, we were running regular events under a different sort of club pseudonym when we were down here in Sydney, and we worked across a bunch of different systems. And last year, we ran our first event in 10 years, specifically targeting, as we were sort of talking about before, with the coincidental timing. But we started running our first event series, and that's continuing in 2 or 3 weeks with our second event. And that'll stretch out to sort of from maybe 2, maybe 3 a year is probably the most I can get away with. But that specifically is targeting people who maybe don't have a huge army. So we love doubles. We've always loved doubles. Doubles used to be the events that I think we most looked forward to every time they were hosted, and there would be maybe two or three of them a year here in Sydney back in the 8th edition heyday, or even when we were playing 40k at the same time, or Lord of the Rings. It was a handful of events a year, and they were always the most fun. They were always the best to go to. They were always the place where you could learn more and really learn from interesting people and those sorts of things. And so that's what we've sort of looked to focus on in terms of running events of our own is let's bring doubles back, this format that's really accessible, really low points, so that anyone who's trying out the old world and might have picked up a battalion pack can sort of paint things up and meet 750 points, and they can partner up with someone and sort of come and have a game and have that experience of what does bigger points look like, but I'm still only managing my own little army that I've painted up and I've prepared myself. And it feels to me that that's, in terms of, again, going back to growth, the Warhammer stores don't exist anymore, not in the way that they did 10, 15 years ago. And so I feel that there's this sort of missed opportunity with a generation of players who didn't have and we were sort of like this at the end of high school and going into uni. It was just like, oh, what have we got to do? We'll go 2-3 nights a week to the Warhammer store or to the Games Workshop store, and play a game on the tables at the back and go and have Japanese food and beer afterwards. And it was like that was really easy and that was really simple. And that just doesn't exist anymore. And even the independent stores down here in Sydney, and I don't know, I'd be keen to understand what it's like for you guys, but the independent stores down here don't really work that way anymore either. There's more tables and there's more space, but they don't sort of work in that sort of casual gaming thing anymore.
Yeah. Well, our local store, I guess, with Aaron and Dan and Dylan, they certainly run.
Yeah, so we've got like our local gaming store, and we try and support him as much as we can, because he has about 8 tables, and so every Friday night we commandeer 1 or 2, and Dylan runs a learn to play that night. Like, so just advertises it, come down, borrow an army, and just try it out.
Aaron will take a couple of armies
I'll
down.
take a few 1,000-point armies down, and
and then they do.
Get the dust off.
And then you also run
and then we try and do a games day, which is like 2 or 3, like just a little round robin, but there's no prizes. Like, the only prize we do is best painted army. That's the only prize we do for the games day.
Bit of a mini tournament sort of, like, just to get.
And if we don't get the numbers, we don't even have to pay. Like, it's only when we get above 10 we have to pay.
Yeah.
So
they do. So the guys at TAT do a lot of work for that, but maybe for us at the moment in Southeast Queensland, it's just not converting to tournament numbers completely yet. Like, it's stagnated a bit, I feel.
The other thing that popped into my head is, and I should have probably looked this up, but how many 1-dayers versus 2-dayers do you guys have locally? Because what we found here was the growth in the numbers is at the 1-dayer level. Yeah. And I would, happy to get pincushion in the comments, say that the 2-dayer attendance has stayed flat.
Okay. Well, we're definitely more 2-day orientated.
Yeah.
Even our 1-day tournament, like Trav's last one was 4 games in 1 day. So even our 1-day tournaments are probably, taxing on the new
It's a big day for doing 4 games.
Huge.
Definitely.
Definitely. Especially when you've drunk a carton of milk mango,
which does seem like a quite unique feature at many of these Queensland events. But that said, I mean, I think Alex is absolutely right.
Yeah,
we've got some quite prominent events that have continued happening, over the years down here, both in the Capital Territory and in New South Wales, like big events. And there's just not the same engagement, the same look in for 2-day events as 1-day events, which, I mean, again, I think talking about maybe the demographic these days, a 1-day event of 3 games, certainly for Alex and I, it's a far easier sell than 2 days. We've had the Western Sydney Wargamers boys publish their full calendar of events for the year, and it's probably the single best thing that any game organizer has ever done for us, because it allows us to sit down at the start of the year and have the conversation well in advance. That it means that in June, when they run their first 2-dayer, we actually stand a chance of going.
Yeah,
nice.
You have to start at like a brownie point counter, and then you got to cash in each tournament.
Just put them
Just
in
a-
now and then cop it now and then go off.
Like a loan. You've got a tournament mortgage.
Close to the truth, but just in case this ever gets seen, no, definitely not that.
100%, 100%. But it's an interesting point because I feel like I'm Warhammered out for the year in advance already, which is we've got the Western
that's
Sydney
true.
Wargamers calendar. We've got our events that we're hosting, one in Feb, probably one later on in the year. Then the 2+ boys host events that they segment in between. So really, we're playing an event every 6 to 8 weeks, I would say. And I don't know if I could do any more than that. Like in terms of, happy marriage and the ability to spend more money on Warhammer.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think we have to take a bit of a lesson from that and run more one days because sometimes, like, I'll go to a 2-day tournament and I just want to go home, like, on like that afternoon, the first day.
Getting tabled a couple of times.
Yeah, I think.
But the other thing is attrition, right? At those 2-day events, it is just not uncommon for people just to drop after that bad experience of the first day. So yeah, so it is one of those things that not everyone is getting the full experience over the course of the 2 days. So is the value then in continuing that for the people who will continue to push through and play, or is it for trying to look at different opportunities to make the one day more accessible or more engaging? To your point, Harry, earlier on, is it around that? And
Yeah.
I'm not going to start talking about comp because every time I start talking about comp, we're
We
here
the
for
whole
hours.
night. And then the FAQ drops tomorrow.
And then the FAQ drops tomorrow, and
changes.
the whole game
Please,
changes.
please still upload the video.
Yeah.
An FAQ video
Message
pop up
tomorrow morning. Oh, sorry.
I'm just
We're cutting the whole thing. You got to re-record.
the footage.
Great to chat, boys, but it's not going to make it.
No, we're very much.
No.
Even if it like, I think our, we're not a Dowie After Dark or Close Order or 2+ immediate. Oh my gosh, like the FAQ is out. Like we'll talk about it for sure, but my game plan is that if it was to drop tomorrow, my money was dropping at like a random Wednesday afternoon rather than a Monday, because now that it's been out there, that it's coming out quote unquote tomorrow, the guys at GW will be like, nah.
A week.
Nah.
Yeah,
I refuse to have the plebs be correct and go straight for that. But I think we'll hammer down games on TTS. I mean, we didn't even talk about that. That's the medium that honestly I think we play on the most is as family men is like Tabletop Simulator. Probably can get one game in a week and just try out lists, different armies. We have this big problem, boys, because Alistair and I had played each other so many times on Demons versus Empire in the last tournament. We ended up actually tailoring against one another.
No, you.
And we screwed our chances. But, I went, my gosh, these Nurglings have actually never been in combat.
No, that's not true. That's not true. And we did have an experience that should have humbled you when I played Nuln with a General of the Empire and a Griffin. And what should have been a total rout, charging into Nurglings, doing like 6 wounds against them and them doing nothing back, and should have just deleted half the unit on morale. He then rolls double ones. And then takes no casualties. They force the General of the Empire into combat with the Lord of Change. And Alex is none the wiser, sitting there going, wow, Nurglings are great.
That works so good.
Yeah. That's good. Exactly the plan.
On a swarm is definitely not broken. Anyway, quickly moving on, before we do about that. This is my favorite slide, lads. Right, Alice
yes,
is like,
we've used it a few times, Alex.
I know. I'm going to have it in every single one.
So much, Harry.
In every single one. But I love the topic. There's only one, because there's only one way to talk about my favorite thing, which we'll get to in a second. But maybe it's because Alistair asked everyone what's a behemoth. Now I just ask everybody, what's your view on 2026, and when are we going to talk about Kislev? Is the main thing.
That was actually one of the first videos I watched of you guys, was your Kislev.
Mhm.
You got me.
Was Alex's massive clickbait title Kislev rules released?
I was like, you've got to watch this. He's on to something here. He's on to something.
It worked. I've been trying. I've got the ice magic one ready to go, but Alistair's always busy.
Yeah,
you know, when I try to do it.
The alfoil hat on and all, Alex.
Oh,
I was.
no.
Yeah. Now, we'll get your view on it, which is 2025, massive, as we can see there. People get fatigued. Actually, no, I'll rephrase that. People don't get fatigued on the amount of releases that we had, but perhaps they forget at how good life is now compared to what it was 10 years ago on the pace releases. We know that we're getting the Cathay Arcane Journal, The Great Bastion, Siege of the Great Bastion, which is going to rewrite Cathay entirely. The army list itself is going to have a force reduction, which I believe they put in writing. If not, then it's definitely been pseudo-confirmed by the oracles and the rumor forum. But I mean,
Alex,
what are you guys hoping to see in 2026?
Well, probably demons. I really want to see demons. Because they've been bloody left dirty for centuries.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you hear that, John? Dark elves confirmed not coming back. Demons are.
Demons are.
I think we're likely from a story standpoint to see demons a little bit closer to the Great Invasion. But you know, that's just me trying to apply some logic to it. Harry, what about you? What are you hoping to get out of 2026 release wise?
Do I feed the flame from your channel? Your last couple of videos about the ogres? Do we feed that?
Ooh, please.
Some female
Please
ogres,
do.
mate.
Just look, some of the. It'd be good to see some of the renegade armies come back. That would be big. That would just show that Games Workshop is actually growing the game rather than just. I mean, the Arcane Journals are great. Don't get me wrong, but just sort of rewashing an army to sell some kit bashing stuff is going to get old for the community eventually, especially the people who want the old the renegade armies, like your dark elves and your ogres and your rats. So I think if we could see some releases for them, at least one.
Just even tease us with it.
One.
Keep us in the loop.
Yeah, then I
Keep
think
us
that would be
going.
huge for the old world community across the board.
I think Alex's money, obviously, with the power of prayer, is on a Kislev release this year. You know, they released a new faction last year with Grand Cathay, and they'll release a new faction, quote unquote, this year, right? And the two that they teased at the very beginning when they said the old world was coming back were Cathay and Kislev, and they said that they were coming, and they said that they were going to do stuff. That said, I sort of echo what both of you have said. I wonder how long they can keep pushing this story without acknowledging that a huge part of this world still exists, right?
Yeah, that's a big one.
And unless they totally retcon the story and they take 30 years of army books and lore and everything else that's been built around not just this era, but you know, the 1,000 years preceding it as far as the elves are concerned and the lizard men and everything else. There is a part of me that just wonders at what point do they bite the bullet and say, okay, we said at the beginning we weren't going to support legacy armies and with the, you know, they weren't going to be re-released, but when do we drop the surprise? Hey, welcome back to the world, ex-renegade army. Because talking
when the sales slow up, like if sales start to, if the sales start to slow a bit, they'll be like, what can we do here?
They're in no trouble. I think I saw a video the other day saying that, you know, Games Workshop has increased like 140% in value over the last 10 years. So it's like there's no issue around Games Workshop stock or the value of the company that's going to be affected one way or another to influence them to re-release the old.
Someone needs to do the math out there if every gamer went and bought shares.
Would we own the company?
How much do we have to? How much does
How do we
everybody
get a
have to?
seat on the board?
How much does every individual have to buy to get a controlling interest in Games Workshop?
We're just one collective.
We
But
own it now. We own it.
I wonder if it can even be a more simple and subtle way of doing that without, reneging on themselves, which is what they've done in 30K for Horus Heresy, which is like, guys, all of these legacy armies, of course they're legal. Why would you even think that the legacy armies in 30K are not legal? What a ridiculous statement. So, to me, I can totally see them coming out and saying, "Look, okay, we're not bringing back legacy, guys, but we're gonna make them legal in quotation marks and update the PDFs at least as a stopgap. Like maybe that's a nod to the community and saying that they're being played." Someone, I don't know who it was, maybe it was Val on Squarebase, said the only event globally which does not allow legacy lists is the Warhammer World events globally. And so, it's someone's got to be paying attention.
Yeah. It feels like when they released Old World, it was just kind of like, here, old fellas, have your game back,
Stop emailing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And now they're sort of, they're in a bit of it. But they are obviously very protective of AOS, like extremely protective. So that's obviously created the roadblocks or some roadblocks.
I think there's been enough time passed though, right? Between AOS and Warhammer 8th edition. Most of the armies are entirely unrecognizable in terms of models, in terms of what goes into them. They've had full re-releases, they've had designs totally updated. And I'm pretty sure the design element for the Old World is a totally separate group of designers to the designers of Age of Sigmar. So,
and one of the major designers from Age of Sigmar has moved to the Old World team. I believe to even lead it. Don't quote me on the role, but that was a big piece of like gossip. Was very much the person responsible for the big sculpts that you see in AOS, the big dragons. A lot of them, he or she, apologies, I don't know, has moved to the Old World. So if that's on a signal for what's coming down the release in terms of big models investment, they could have, as you said, Harry, just kept rinsing. Oh, here's the old skeletons. Like, we're bringing back vampire counts, but here's the fifth ed, sixth ed skeleton box. You can have 40 of them for $80. We've still got 1,000 of them lying around. But I think the other point is Cathay selling so well, and the fact that we're up to Arcane Journal number 3 for Cathay in less than 6 months, really, to me, probably unfortunately, signals that the cash drop off a new faction is very sexy.
But I think that's fully intended, right? I don't think there's any world in which they would release a faction and not have it receive immediate support. Like you look at anywhere else they've done something similar, and it's a model that they keep to. They release it, they make sure it stays part of the conversation for at least 12 months following the release of the army, specifically to drive sales, to drive engagement and interest and everything else. It'll be super interesting if a fifth of the rumors around how Cathay will change as a result of this next FAQ come into play. It will be super interesting to see what happens with them, but maybe they're unconcerned with that simply by dint of the fact that, the breach of the Great Bastion, as you pointed out, Alex, is going to bring such a fundamental change to how Cathay is going to be intended to be played anyway. So I think there's probably a little bit of skepticism that we have to apply, and there's also a little bit of a recognition that most, if not all, of these releases were planned 12 to 18 months ago. I don't think there's any of these that we would look at and go, oh, wow, they're really responding to what's happening in the global scene with these armies by releasing this Arcane Journal, which focuses on these group of factions that need a check. No, there's definitely a pathway for them. I think to Harry, your point that they've made changes, having realised what the impact of the game has had in the 2 years since the game has come, and the interest and the engagement. I think they've acknowledged as much in the shareholder meetings that, you know, the old world has totally surprised them in terms of the engagement and the revenue that it's generating. So I think we'll probably see, but it takes so slow it's so slow in a corporate environment, even in a design environment, for them to go, okay, we've got a new strategy now for the next 12 months and we need to deliver on it. But then we've also got, you know, what does the next 5 years of this game look like? When's the next edition release? What do we do sort of constructing things? So I think it'll be a decade before we see realistically all of the Renegades factions, all of the legacy factions reintroduced to the game. But I'm inclined to agree. If we got one or a taste of one in the next 12 months, I think that would be an enormously positive sign for the old world, and probably rewarding a lot of the faith that people are putting in it at this point. So it'll be interesting to see what happens nonetheless.
I think if Alex keeps putting that slide up, the old world team are going to start watching your video.
They're going to take notice. They're going
to be like, these guys are onto something.
If it goes in enough videos, mate, then I literally complained about it in the chat beforehand.
Every single slide, every single video is now going to be this slide.
Alex is going to have some big. He's going to have some big "I told you so" moments. He's like, "I told you so."
only because he'll have spoken about every predictable outcome possible by the time they pop up, because the volume of episodes will have done.
Well, I've got all these like STL files for Vampire Coast, Kislev, like all ready to go.
Gun is loaded.
Ready to roll.
I'm genuinely hoping that Dogs of War, I think I said this in our predictions episode,
last one,
genuinely hoping that Dogs of War make an appearance, and that there is a halfling army, because Titan Forge has released in the last couple of months a full Empire halfling equivalent army, and it is the most beautiful set of sculpts that you ever seen. The knights are halflings on giant chickens.
Full plate armor,
full plate armor, giant chickens. The command groups are like full on leaning into. There are cook pots. There are half the dudes are wearing like pots and things on their heads as armor. But I think the pièce de résistance was the general on Griffin. What they've got is just this massive rooster, just this enormous rooster, and just this tiny little dude on his back. And it's the most fabulous model. I think I'll try and share it in the comments, the picture of it. God, if there's anyone looking to create an Empire army, have a look at Titan Forge. An interesting Empire army. Have a look at the Titan Forge releases, because my God, you show up to an event with that thing and you're going to be the absolute belle of the ball. It's such a fabulous set of sculpts. Anyway, Dogs of War. And then I have to convince Alex to print everything for me. But
nah. Hard to know. Anyway, so I think we've hit the end of the talking points I put together. I was going to ask one more thing, which was attached to that, what's coming in 2026, which was, you know, down here we talk about the changes that the FAQ brings every 6 months. How is your scene feeling about the fact that every 6 months they introduce changes that make fundamental differences to how we come to tournaments, factions, and so forth? Are you guys wanting them to be more regular? Are you happy with it to be set and forget? Are you happy with 6 months?
I don't know.
Well, for me, like from a personal perspective, not a community perspective, but like we talk about being time poor with the family and everything like that for a lot of people. For me, I don't like seeing too many changes too often, because normally what happens is, you know, I'm painting it at midnight after the kids are asleep. And I only get to, you know, maybe 2 tournaments a year. So having painted like a certain list for a tournament that I like to use, like my war host, for instance, you know, I'll paint that up. And if there are fundamental changes to, say, like Behemoths again, then I'd have to go and like paint more points of something else. So for someone like myself, that's very time poor in the hobby in terms of actually getting out there and getting involved, it can be frustrating if it's too regular.
I think because we played Ninth Age a lot, and towards
Yes.
the end of Ninth Age, people were just it was like a second job just to try and keep up with the changes, and so they kind of left sort of a sour taste.
The Ninth Age, like
Yeah.
there, because Aaron and I played a lot of Ninth Age, and towards the end, that's what pushed me out of the Ninth Age was I just couldn't keep up with, like having to change your list and paint more infantry, let's say, or so. But I think like
It's a bit of a
overall,
balancing act. Changes, like you don't want to do too many.
and I think for some people, the changes are positive because like some of the changes are more towards what other people might want. For instance, making infantry slightly better. That for a lot of people, they just like the old rank and flank, stick your big block of halberdiers on the board. So I think it is positive for the most part at the moment. But then there is negative. So I think, and people talk about in 40K how the consistent changes, they almost killed it for a while. So I think they do. Games Workshop are aware of that, so I think they've just got to try and balance it as much as they can. The balance, that's the word, isn't it? That is the word, balancing. They've got to balance their balances.
I also don't think there's a universe in which Games Workshop actually approaches any of their games and goes, "We need this to be balanced." I think it's just it's a game of averages more than anything else, and it's about what do we need to change to sort of reinvigorate how people are playing or looking at the world. And I don't personally think that this next FAQ is going to be anywhere as far-reaching as the 1.5. I'm excited to see what happens. But I also think it's one of those signs, the 6-month release. I think it's one of those signs that they also recognize that they're in this for the long haul, and they're going, we will change things in some minor material way every 6 months. But, you will see enough releases through everything else to keep you interested and organized and engaged over that time that we won't need to do big releases every few months. The other thing is, the old world compared to something like 40K is tiny. It's tiny.
Yeah, we're like a niche in a niche.
Yes. Nostalgia, really, isn't it? It's just like the...
We got money, though.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that is one good thing about the old world, and the same as 8th. Like, people did talk about how 8th was a massive power game, like you could kill everything. But I actually think as a community in 8th, and also seeing it in the old world, we actually rejig the game well enough ourselves for the most part. For the most part, we do like to see official stuff come from Games Workshop, but I think no matter what comes out, we always fix it, correct it.
Yeah, and I think you've hit on perhaps a point that this video talking about Queensland, New South Wales has drawn out, which is every scene locally. Like we talk about the different states, but I kind of feel like everywhere around the world, it's a different type of Warhammer. Like even you guys up there, you're using the square-based-ish comp pack, no special characters. We're using a different comp down here. Talking about the difference to 40K and AOS, I feel like Old World is a game where you can make it your own locally to whatever suits the requirements of your player base. And I know that there's different views on that about standardization, and some communities want it to be standardized heavily. The other Behemoths on this channel would like to see standardization across the board. I think I can definitely agree with that, you want to be able to go places and play the same type of Warhammer. But even the rules are just so not clear.
Yeah,
that
so badly written.
The different, as you said at the beginning of this video, going to America and seeing how they interpret something is completely different to how we might interpret it or even play it. So when we had Richie on from Diary After Dark, even some of his comments were like, do you guys not play it this way? And it's like, no, we actually don't, but we know it. So I always say this point, especially when you're looking at Warhammer online, don't just immediately go out and take something as gospel. Like, make sure you're checking in locally to see, yes, that's the way it's played. Your scene may not use Renegade Pact from Val Heffelfinger. Your demon players might be getting 20-0'd every second, by second turn across the board. So it's a good conversation to have, but ultimately, if that's how the game is forming and growing, perhaps just something we have to live through.
I was looking for the forgive me for looking down for a bit. I'm scrolling through my Instagram frantically looking for the dude who does he does short things on updated releases in 40K. He's the dude who speaks through the rules and then goes, nice, at the end of it, just in lieu of any other response. I feel like that's like really representative of the 40K experience right now, and it makes me makes me very glad that, again, as far as the changes goes and as far as the release goes, we're really not at that point for the old world just yet.
Yeah, and everything on Reddit, that's what they all say. Like, if you've gotten to the point of 40K, like the game's dead. The game will die a quick death.
And yet 40K continues to rise.
Yeah, but it's so simplified now, right? It's like, I just picked that unit. I picked that unit. I'm very upset because, they deleted Grotesques out of 40K, and that was my favorite 40K unit of all time for my Dark Elder army. But yeah, that's we can never have that in our system because inherently we want to have the minutia of there's a great weapon, there's a lance, there's a cavalry spear, there's a rank and file infantry spear, which literally, like, a thrusting spear does nothing in old world. Why does it exist as a weapon profile? It does literally nothing. It might as well just be a hand weapon. But we're like, no, we must have this. We must have this. For the one dude who's like, I'm gonna model my guys to have thrusting spears.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's plenty, like the fact that Morning Stars exist in the game and things like that.
It's why 30K still exists, right? Because 30K is where you go to play the complex version of 40K.
I know. That's right? What we joke about. Is that the 40K we remember is actually now 30K.
It's 30K now, right? With vehicle facings and actual strength and weapon skill interplays. You got so much. But I think we all feel that there's things about Warhammer the old world, I should say, that they could change or improve. But it's still very much the Warhammer fantasy game that we all loved for a really long time. And I feel it's my hope and many others to have them continue that and not turn it into Age of Sigmar, where it's like, oh, it's my profile says that I'm 3+ to hit and I'm 3+ to wound. So there's no toughness interplay. There's no anything. No, I'll just roll my dice. Okay, great.
No, thanks.
Game's over. Yep. Too complicated. Way too complicated. All right. Well, I think that might be where we need to wrap up. But Harry, Aaron, thank you so much for coming on the Old World Behemoths. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. We will, of course, put the Shady Casters channel link in the show notes as well. Please go check these boys out. And if you live in Toowoomba or Queensland, please check out the local events. If you haven't been to one before, check out the I think you guys were saying a Friday night there's a Learn to Play, and there's regular events in Toowoomba as well. So by all means, go check it out. It's the perfect time to grow into the system. And I'm sure the boys, as we are, would be more than happy to welcome you into their fold. But we will wrap up with a quick, again, thank you to our patrons. If you do want to become a patron, I feel very sold out every time I have to say this, but if you do want to become a patron, you'll find the link in the show notes or the description of the video, wherever you happen to be watching this from. Harry, Aaron, boys, an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Thanks for having us. It's been a pleasure.
And for everyone at home, we will see you next time. Have a lovely night.
See ya.